This is Umar for BoxNation, and Brooklyn is in the house. He's in Manchester. Long flight. I've had to cozy up next to him on the couch. Not too close, though. Big Baby's in town.
I've never been afraid of going to other people's backyard and ruining the show, putting on a show. Fabio can't do shit to me. Point blank, period. You know what I mean? Nobody know who the fuck Fabio is. They know who Big Baby is. You know what I mean? So, Frank brought me out here to try to make a name for Fabio. You know what I mean? I'm going to ruin that shit. So like I said, outside of Manchester and England, nobody know who the fuck Fabio is. So I'm doing him a favor coming over here.
So what do you actually make of Fabio Wardley? How much have you seen of him, Jarrell?
His whole resume is a bunch of bullshit. You know what I mean? The only two names that stand out, of course, is like my little brother David Adelaide. I helped David Adelaide train for that fight. He was doing good in the beginning. And the other
Fraser Clark.
Yeah, big wussy. He's a punk. Looks like a punk. Was a draw. Then he got clipped in the second fight, and that's all she wrote. But other than that, everybody on his resume is a bunch of journeymen. Like nobody that can bust a grade. Eric Molina was washed up years ago before that fight. So, I mean, you got to think about it. I'm battle tested. Yeah, he fought some tough fights against opponents that were really not even top notch. So, it's not much to me think about him. Last time I stood next to him, he was puny. Like 220, maybe 230, 6'2 and a half, 6'3. Online, I got him at 6'5. That's a lie. So I don't know why people like jacking on their numbers to be a certain way, but I have nothing in me afraid to do it at all. Like, I'm never afraid at all, period. But even worse, like nothing about him at all even stands as like,
There's nothing you rate about him at all?
Nothing, bro. There's not. I'm telling you, like, nothing at all. There's nothing that I've seen about him that be like, he's good at this, good at this. I mean, for what I understand, he has heart, right? Anybody that has heart is a problem, right? All heavyweights can throw punches. You know what I mean?
What about his speed and power? Do you not rate that at all?
First of all, I know he don't harder than Dubois, and you see how I did Dubois fight. And the only reason Dubois even got that far is because I had really 3.5 weeks to prepare for that fight. You know what I mean? Dubois didn't beat me. I beat myself. And I'm going to say it's a press conference, too. You got to understand something. Dealing with that fight was so much nonsense. I got a call for that fight, I think like 4.5 weeks before the fight came. Then we was out in England for almost a week of traveling. So I had really like 3.5 weeks to train for that Dubois fight. I got the contract for that fight like a week and a half before the Dubois fight. I got the final contract and I've been training and fighting, And then I get a lawsuit from Toledo Promotion for $5.5 million the exact same week. Then one of my best friends from childhood dies the exact same week. So it's like, you're dealing with all this shit and you're fighting for a big fight. But it was a risk I wanted to take because I wanted to get back on the scene. I wanted to get up in the mix. And I took the fight against Dubois. I always want to go for a knockout. Like, that's my goal, is always trying to go for a knockout. And I always told people, like, even after the Dubois fight, I want to fight somebody that I don't know. Like, me and Andy have a close relationship, and it was tough. We're hitting each other with shots, and you see your boy eye roll back his head on certain shots. It's like, you kind of back off sometimes. Where you have no somebody you do not know, you don't like, it's killer instinct. So I definitely want to fight with Fabio to a point where it's like, I don't know him, I don't like him, I just want to freaking rip his head off, So you never know. But the same thing is, it's his business. And, you got to pay to play. So at the same time, you got to back yourself up and protect yourself at all times in all aspects of this game. Okay, they will shit on you the minute they have a chance.
I just want you to watch this clip, please, Jarrell.
Big Baby, I hope you're ready. Ipswich Town, Portman Road, 7th of June, my hometown, my place, my people. You need to be prepared. You need to be at your best because you've seen what I've done previously and there's no doubt of what I'm planning on doing to you.
Thoughts?
He work on a shit talking. Man, listen, man, I've been through the worst of the worst. Ain't nothing that boy can do to me that's going. Like I said before, I ain't had my cup of coffee yet. If I turn up, when I turn up, I turn up.
Do you think he's taking this too early, Fabio, with you? Has he made a mistake here, Jarrell?
Yeah, 100%. But I think because they knocked out Frazier so well, they feel like he can knock out all the big guys like that. And it's not true. You know what I mean? The worst thing you can do is feel like you knock out one big guy, now you can knock everybody out. You know what I mean? And you understand something. Maybe Frazier was going through something. Maybe you got hit with a clean punch. That's boxing. You know what I mean? You never know. You know what I mean? But I just know with me, like, when it comes in the ring and the bell goes off, I'm a different person. You know what I'm trying to say? Even worse when I don't like you. So I still have an itch on my shoulder from the Dubois fight. I didn't really get it scratched the way I wanted to against Andy. You know what I mean? So I have no problem annihilating a Brit in Britain. You know what I mean? But like I said, protect yourself at all times.
So what he was referring to there, believe there'll be about 20 to 25,000 people there. It's his obviously local city. That raucous atmosphere, how do you think you'll be under that? Do you think that'll actually push you on a little bit?
No, because I fought, the last hometown I fought in was that crowded was in, Crow Cop. I was K1. I was like 20-something thousand, 30-something thousand people in his city, and I was in my mid-20s, and that's a fight that I won, and they gave it to him. But that's what I tell you, it was like hometown cooking. You hit a guy with 100 and some strikes, they hit you with 60-something, and they still give the guy the fight. You hit a guy with a body shot, knee to the chest, and it drops, and they call a low blow. But that's the hometown cooking, and it plays on a fighter's mental sometimes. So what I'm trying to say is that's why you got to even the playing field outside of the ring, at least for the fighter that comes to the town. Like, listen, at least he has the best chance possible, and leave it to the skills in the ring, because he's hometown. We know what time it is when you come to somebody else's city. I'm trying to say that this is what's going to happen. And Britain is known for these botchery robberies. I'm trying to say, so like I said before, he can say what he wants, but that's not the problem for me right now.
Something I asked him, I said, when you're facing someone like Jarrell Miller, there's not really many people like you coming at 300 pounds. How do you find appropriate sparring partners for someone like that? If you are fighting yourself, like, how would you go about that? Because there are obviously massive big guys out there, but probably not with the same levels of skills as you. It must be difficult for fighters to find sparring for you, Jarrell.
Yeah, 110%, because once I'm on, I'm on. My stamina, my punch combination, my movement, my agility is different than anybody else, especially Frazier Clark. Like, me and him, two different animals side by side. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to kill you, he's trying to box. It's two different things. So, good luck to them. I know one or two guys that might be good sparring partners, but one of them is a former NFL player. He's not gonna come out here for that. You know what I mean? So, it's weird because I've heard a referee meeting one time, and fighters made it known that they don't want to get in the clinch. The minute he touch me, they want to break the fight up. Like, that's how guys are so scared of getting in the mix in the middle and want to box. You know what I mean? So, he got to run. He's gonna have to run to save his. He's gonna have to run to save his life. If he's gonna sit there and bang him, he's gonna die. 100%.
So you are literally going into this fight not concerned about anything that Fabio Wardley possesses.
100% not. Listen, he doesn't have a harder right hand than Andy Ruiz. He doesn't have a harder harder right hand than Dubois. Dubois is a better jab. Faster hands than Andy all day. Combination wise, Andy all day. And I'm trying to say, it's like, we go, and I'm just on my two most recent fights. I go back further than that. Guys have better jabs than him. So it's like, he hasn't been to sparring camps I've been in. He hasn't seen what I've seen. He hasn't been in other people's countries and hear the records. Like, that shit motivates me when I hear people boo me. I don't give a fuck. But when you get in that ring and I start binging your ass in front of your people, is what it is. And I'm trying to say, but like I said before, we will see.
Okay. Just before we close off, just to get your thoughts on a few other things. Deontay Wilder's back. What do you make of his comeback fight?
Now I've heard about it, a few months ago, and if we get past our fights, and I'll get past mine, you get past his, maybe me and him could do a blockbuster banger.
Is there bad blood there still with Deontay? Like, where does that stem from?
Some vagina. Straight up. Not me though. I'm not gonna fight you over a piece of pum pum. You know what I mean? If you take my wife, I might have to shoot your ass because I can't live with it. But for the most part, it was like over his ex was Telly Swift, and me, like, I used to really look at Deontay like a big brother. Like, I used to ask him about questions, been to camp with him a few times. You know what I mean? But it was like he had a chip on his shoulder, and I feel like, I told him, I said, yo, he had just beat, I think who just beat? I think he just beat Severn for the belt. And I was like July 4th on Independence Day. Now, back then I was a wild boy. I'm out with my chick, and he calls me about this chick, and I'm just like, and I told him, I said, bro, you the champ, bro. She's not it. Like, bro, like you can have any chick you want. She is not it. And he's like, nah, I'm in love and da-da-da. I'm like, oh, here we go with this bullshit. And next thing I know, they got matching tattoos and all kind of shit. They're doing like birdhead shit. You know, he's older than me, but I'm hip to the street. I'm hip to the street shit. You know what I mean? So I just told him like, you know, and ever since then, you know, he was saying funny shit and his girl was saying funny shit. And I was like, bro, please don't get me started because, you know, I'm going to take it to the next level. And that's what I did. I took it to the next level. And ever since then, we've always had some kind of animosity, you know, over that. But I mean, we're a little older now. I don't really give a shit. I'm more about the paycheck, you know what I mean? And plus, like I said, I still want to smash him because people want to see that fight. So, but other than that, like he started acting funny over a piece of vagina. I mean, his own cousins were telling him because his cousins came and told me, bro, we don't not like Shorty. Like she seems like a headache. But some men, you know, they see some crotch they never seen before. What happens?
Aside from Wilder, all being well for you in your next fight, is Anthony Joshua someone you'd still entertain? And realistically, do you think that could happen? Because according to Eddie, they're just looking at either Fury if he comes back or the Dubois rematch.
Well, I know it's for a fact. AJ said he wants to fight. His team said they don't want to fight. I think other than a Tyson fight, even Dubois rematch, I think Dubois still kills him again. There's nobody else out there. I mean, he got all the money, you know what I mean? But if he's really trying to say, yo, make all ties, you know, you got the big baby Miller, put the stamp on the end of it, you know what I mean? And or even do one more fight in America. You know what I'm trying to say? Like he came to America and he got knocked out, never came back. You know what I mean? That kind of for me, like, yeah, you're not solidified as the Hall of Famer or great because you went to America, your ass whipped and never came back. You kept it safe. You know what I mean? So I would definitely love to have that fight. Everybody would love to have that fight. You know, AJ Toke's a big one, but like I said, I was the first one to tell everybody, I'm like, bro, he's not built like that. I seen the chink in his armor. I seen the chink in his ego. I seen the chink in his. It's like, oh, I could read people in their eyes. I'm good at that shit.
To be fair, you were one of the very few people I spoke to the day before the Dubois fight, and you were very confident that Dubois was going to beat him.
Knock him out. Because what happened is once you're in the ring with certain people, and it's like a life and death situation, you learn a lot about them. You know what I'm trying to say? And like I said, Dubois was out ready to quit, and his dad put the battery in his back. But it's so funny because from that night, I tell people, I says, bro, I've never ever been that tired in any one of my fights ever. Even though I have that much time to prepare, it felt like I was poisoned somewhere in that fight. It felt like somebody took my heart out of my chest. I just couldn't breathe. And I was like, I don't know till this day why my body went like that or shut down on me. I went from 100 to like 0 in like a couple seconds. But like Dubois graduated that night, you know, and that's what Frank is trying to do with Fabio to make him graduate from that level for me to push him. But guess what? I'm not no fucking gatekeeper. You know what I'm trying to say? That's not gonna happen. For that to happen, I'll walk away from boxing. You know, I'm never gonna do that. So, you know, but certain people graduate, and AJ didn't graduate until he was ready. Got all the fame and all the like. He didn't have that warrior in him. You know what I'm trying to say? They protected him for so long. So now finally, he's this icon over here in UK, and he's trying to keep that visualization of everybody else. But Royce Rose like, we know you softer than baby shit. You know what I mean? Like, there's 100 different dudes like you in New York walking around. You know what I'm trying to say? So, you know, unfortunately, you know, he's older now and his chin is a little touched up, but, well, hey, did what he had to do already.
And last one I put to you, the winner of tonight, Joyce Hergovich, especially if it's Joyce, could do it here in the UK as well. Would that, you know, sort of get your juices going as well, the Joyce fight?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about the Joyce fight before, but like I said before, Frank likes to call me last minute. You know, like, they called me about the Joyce fight. I think it was like 4 weeks. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
Oh, they offered it for you for this one?
Yeah, they offered me after who Joyce was going to fight Dillian White, and offered me Joyce. And I said, no, I'm not doing it. It's too last months. And to go to UK for that kind of bread, nah, I'm good. I have better offer coming. I'm focused on certain things I got going on. And then they had offered me another fight in New York, in my hometown. And I was talking to about it with my manager Spence, and you know, there's some things about it, you know, he didn't like, and you know, he kind of wanted to move towards the Wardley fight.
I closed off my interview with Fabio, getting him to send a message to you. So it's only right, I'll give you the mic if you want to send a message, a response to Fabio in Ipswich.
Nah, I got nothing to say.
Nothing to say.
It's peanut butter and jelly time, man. He's lighter than peanut butter, so hey, time to spread it open.
Jarrell, appreciate your time. Look forward to the fight tonight with Joyce Hergovich. Your boy David Adelaide and TKV are on as well. Did you see the table go over in the week?
Yes, I seen it. I was kind of see. The thing about it is, everybody more talk. You know. After I did the push with AJ years ago, I seen a lot more people started pushing people, and I realized that talking shit is an art, right? Because you really got to believe it, and that's why I feel like the proper opponent is what makes the shit talking great. Because I really will stole on you, like I really will swing on you in a press conference if you really push my buttons. You know, I'm a little cuckoo, to believe it or not. You know, I do take meds sometimes. You know, it is what it is. But I'm gonna tell you something though. You really have to be that kind of guy outside on the street and really in the ring. You can't just put on a show all the time just for the cameras. You know, that's why I always been a fan of Derek, like Derek Chisora, because he was a nutcase. The guy's really a fucking nut. Like Mike is my favorite fighter. Mike is a fucking nut. Shannon Briggs is a fucking nut. Like these guys are actual freaking nuts. So when you see them in the ring, it's like boxing for them is like therapy. You know what I'm trying to say? So I know how to read people. I believe that. Like that to me, the flipping the table shit was kind of whack. And like like for me, I'm not gonna flip a table. Like if you've seen some of the bodyguards that Gold Star have, these guys they're humongous, right? I guarantee you right now, if I wanted to get to Fabio Wardley on the other side of the table, not one of them would be able to stop me. They were missing kneecaps, shin bones, ankles would be broken. I'm telling you, because I'm that kind of person. Not one of them could stop me if I want to get Fabio. But you really want to get me to that point because I won't stop until I break his face. So I try to calm myself down a little better sometimes and deal with things different now. You know what I mean? But it comes out sometimes.
Big baby, thank you for your time and enjoy your stay in the UK.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you, brother. Blessing.
Queensbury, exclusively on Design.